بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
حديثك لا تنادي فهبوا يا بني قومي أسودا أعيدوا للدنا أمجاد عصر وفلوا بالحديد لنا القيودا.
Hello everyone, this is Colin once again. I'm making this video because Ahmed's Quran 3 has made 3 new videos, and they're his videos 200 parts A, B, and C. Now part A is only on his YouTube account, but he has posted parts B and C on his blog, and so I am just watching them from his blog and will be responding to all 3 if the other 2 parts have anything valid. Now this video is sort of like the greatest hits of Ahmed's Quran 3. Essentially all he's doing in this video is he's made a list, and all he's doing is he's going through and summarizing what he has done in past videos. Now some of these videos I have refuted already, some of them have yet to be refuted yet. I guess we'll sort of semi-refute them in this video as well. First off, Ahmed's Quran 3, congratulations for reaching 1,000 subscribers. I think that you definitely deserve it with the time spent, basically doing what it is that you're doing. But having said that, I want to go through some of the things you briefly mentioned in this video. First off, you said you base your arguments on the Arabic text, and you make it sound like and you repeat this actually several times. You say that you have been quoting, you say, the Quran, the Hadith, sometimes you'll say the Sunnah, in the Muslim exegesis. I think you know that that's an outright lie. If you don't know that by now, then you, sir, are in denial, which I think is really ironic, considering the fact that you say that Muslims are in denial, because you seem to be, you claim to be doing such a great attack on Islam. You're doing such a great job of dispelling the illusion of Islam that you claim that we as Muslims are just a bunch of idiots or in denial. I think you, sir, are in denial, especially when you say that that Muslims are attacking your chapters yet cannot prove anything. Really? That's funny, because, not to be egotistical or anything, but I think I've done a pretty fair job of going through your chapters and refuting many of your claims. But of course, you won't acknowledge me anymore, which is fine, so I guess we're just left to the imagination of both of our viewers. You say that because we hate you so much that none of us can agree with a single one of your chapters. Actually, you're wrong about that. I agreed with your chapter, I'm not sure which number it is, where you mentioned that suicide bombers do not have any sort of theological backing for what they do. I actually agreed with that video. I think I might have said that in one of my videos. So, no, I'm sure there are, maybe 1 or 2 of your videos the Muslims can come out of saying, it's not too bad. However, I would say about 99.9% of your videos are full of lies, as I have demonstrated many times here. You start summarizing all your videos, and I didn't write down the numbers, but we're just going to summarize some of your argumentation here. You say that Islam means submission, and then therefore you say, because to be a Muslim is one who just believes in God, you have therefore destroyed the myth that that Muslims are only Muslims if they believe in Muhammad and things like this. What's ironic is that the Prophet Muhammad would have actually agreed with you. And so what you've done here is you are creating a straw man argument, which is kind of tacky on your part, considering this is like one of your first videos, and I think it's like chapter 3 in your book. Considering that in Islam, we believe that everyone is a Muslim, because we believe that Islam is the only religion, the true religion, that God instructed to mankind, starting with Adam, who was the first prophet. So, yes, we believe that Christianity and Judaism are man-made religions, and therefore to say that you are a Jew or a Christian is an artificial man-made term, but Muslim is the correct term, and that Islam is the correct religion. Whether you choose to accept Muhammad as a prophet or not is, of course, your choice, and we will see on the Day of Judgment who was on the right path. But as far as Muslims go, because Islam means submission to God, and Muslim is one who submits, Therefore, by you rejecting the Prophet Muhammad, you are therefore not submitting to God, which would take you out of the fold of Islam. Now, if you want to call yourself a Muslim, we have no problems with that. You are a Christian, however, so I don't think you go around town saying you're a Muslim. I don't think you actually do that. I think you just say that just to sort of, you know, create this straw man argument. But in all intents and purposes, yes, if you want to call yourself a Muslim because it means one who submits, and that you submit to God, therefore you follow something called Islam, as far as language goes, you are correct. As far as theology goes, Muslims would say that you are out of the fold of Islam because you do not accept the Prophet Muhammad, and therefore you are not submitting to God when he commanded people to follow the Prophet Muhammad and to follow the Quran. So your straw man argument is kind of interesting because we would agree with you for the most part based on language and for the most part based on theology. I mean, we believe, and the Prophet Muhammad said this, we are all born Muslim. We are all Muslim in all intents and purposes, but you create artificial terms for yourself, like Christianity and you being a Christian, and therefore you take yourself out of the fold. And you say that, again, you say again, I would say you do not only quote the Quran exegesis. You are in denial, sir. I have caught you many times quoting and plagiarizing from other people's works. I don't think Sam Shimon's articles on answeringislam.org are considered the Quran, Hadith, or exegesis. Again, when people accuse you of what you say we're accusing you of, we're not saying what you're quoting from the Quran or the Hadiths are, quote, wrong. I've made statements where you're quoting weak or unauthentic traditions, and that I advise you to be careful when you're quoting things from Tirmidhi or Sunan Abu Dawud and things like this, because not everything you're quoting could be sahih. However, we're not saying that we're not in denial about the idea that the Quran and the Hadiths are wrong. Again, you say that Allah is the rock god of the Kaaba. Again, you've said this many times, and I would challenge you again to show me where the Arabs, even the pagan Arabs, believed that the black stone in the corner of the Kaaba is actually an idol representation of Allah. I would like for you to prove that. Again, you say that jihad is not a spiritual struggle. I would again encourage you to look at what scholars have said about that. Jihad does have spiritual struggling elements to it, to be a good person and things like this. Again, it is not against all unbelievers. And you use the medieval term Dar al-Harb. What's interesting is that so did Pat Robertson used the term Dar al-Harb, and Robert Spencer uses the term Dar al-Harb. The thing is that term, House of War, is nowhere in the Quran, and to my understanding, it's nowhere in the authentic hadiths of Sahih Bukhari and Sahih Muslim. These are medieval Muslim scholar exegesis that coined this term, that split the world into two halves. What's interesting, though, is that scholars of the medieval persuasion, in my book on Islamic Sharia law, which I have sitting right here, makes it very clear there's actually a third land, which is the neutral land where Muslims can live peacefully under non-Muslim governments and societies. So it's not this black and white two-society system, it's actually three, but these were medieval terms that were coined much later after the Prophet Muhammad's death and were not uttered by him, let alone taught by him, let alone taught by the Quran. You say there's not a single place in the Quran that says the hijab in the context, that says hijab in the context that women should cover from themselves from head to toe except the eyes. You're right. Again, this is another straw man argument on your part. The Quran does not explicitly say that. The Quran commands both men and women to be modest and explains, also according to the Hadith, explains, based on these verses and the Muslim exegesis, that women should cover themselves and they can actually show their face and their hands. A lot of these other styles of hijab, if you will, are cultural. So I agree with you, but for you to use this against Islam is another straw man argument. Now, you mentioned a lot of other topics, and I don't have time to go through each and every one of them, so everyone listening to this, please pay attention. In the description section, I will post the topics he mentioned, and I'll post videos that disprove him with things that he mentioned. You say that the Muslim Golden Age had nothing to do with the Muslims, but they were actually under the subjugated people. And I'll post, and since I have this book up in the camera here, it's called Peace Be Upon You, written by Zachary Karabel, who is a historian. I'd also recommend the book, this book right here called Lost Histories, written by Michael Hamilton Morgan, another historian who has compiled books that talk about the famous Muslim thinkers and scientists that flourished during the Muslim Golden Age, and the book called God's Crucible, which explains the society of Muslims in Cordoba in Spain and things like this. All these historians agree that the Muslims did advance society as much as you and people like people like you, Robert Spencer, would like to have people, would you like to, basically make people think that never happened. That was just some myth, apparently. So, thank you everyone for watching. Please, like I said, pay attention to the description section. The other videos and articles I'll be posting that refute some of the things he mentioned. Thank you everyone for watching. Peace be with you all.